First of all, good day, everyone, and thank you for being with us on this session. Sorry if we've just unmuted everybody, but what we're trying to do is basically get to know everyone so we can get into the session. Since we are all passing through a lot of changes during this time, we thought it would be amazing to awaken ourselves a bit and understand the meaning of life. Today, I have Pawan Kumar Mishra on this session. He has many years of experience in Vedic astrology. Especially today, he is going to be deep diving into the mind fields and array of karma, helping people to reconnect with their strength and continue in their journey of their lives through the best suited path for them. He will be a wake-up assistant for our discussion today with a lot of information in relations to karma, destiny, free will, astrology, the importance of your name, and many more. Since today you are all the authors of your life and you want to start fresh, Pavan will serve you to wake up your true purpose and happiness. In addition to that, Pavan can be a very big assistant to you when it comes to owning your own business or having an organization that you're working for and you want to get things to become better. He's also engaged in mind sciences, meditations, and innovations, and can consult you when it comes to your work. Welcome, Pavan, and I will open the floor for you.
Greeting across the world in the times of COVID. Actually, it's a very beautiful greeting. All of us in India, we know, and across the world also, we are getting to know the meaning of the highest in us, highest in me, bowing down to the highest in you, recognizing the best in ourselves and offering it in obedience to the best in the other person who is in front of you. But before beginning anything, let's spend just 30 seconds to tune in. We are coming in from different environments, and just about 30 seconds. Let us just, you could keep your eyes open or keep it gently closed and bring your awareness to the seat that you're sitting upon, to the space that your body occupies. Relax your foreheads. Relax your body. Bring your awareness to your breath. The flow and the touch of breath in your nostrils. Don't breathe. Allow the breath to flow. Let it be effortless. Let there be no jerk, no break. Just an observation of this flow. This flow of breath is common to all of us. This flow of breath unites all of us in a common fabric. Holding on to this intention, gently join in to this conversation. I welcome you once again. Several of the participants for now, I just saw, I could see, they are very well known to me for years. I know Alok for 30 years or more. I know Priya for 18 years or more. I don't know, everybody for many, many years. Even Zeina, I think I know you for many years. 7, 8 years, I think. It's been that long. So many I know already, we know each other for many years, and many I'm meeting for the first time, thanks to Zeina to have organized this possibility.
Anytime.
And what we'll do is, I was thinking about it. In fact, someone was asking me, will you not prepare for this talk? What are you preparing? This is such an important talk. How are you going to prepare? Will you not make some notes or keep something in front of you as a paper or something to look at it? So I thought that, see, anything that will be prepared, anything that we will cook up, will all be information, isn't it? All information that is available on Google University. You can Google everything about astrology, about karma, about free will, every topic that Zeina has touched upon and made it appear as if I can do, or I make it appear that I can do all of them. Yes, all of them can be Googled up and you can find on YouTube how to do each one of them, and you won't need this session, or we won't need to be here. So we are here. Let's be together in a very relaxed space. We will discuss things that we already know. Because talking about anything new takes a lot of time. Even to learn alphabet, A, B, C, D, it takes years before you learn A, B, C, D. Forget about learning literature or any kind of science. Anything new takes a lot of time. And today we have only 60 minutes. Zeina has extended this whole session to 60 minutes. So let us reflect on what we already know. We know enough information, enough experiences. Most of us, I would presume, are in our 40s, average 40s. I'm up, I think probably I'm the oldest here in my 50s.
You don't look like it.
And we will be, there. I see a young son of mine joining, Manish. Welcome, Manish. He's not even
Thank
touched
you.
20. I think he's the youngest one who's joined in. Zeina, you
Yes.
muted me, so I'm back here.
Really?
So we have our youngest participant, who is Manish. His father was very dear to me, like my own younger brother. And I would want to share with all of you that for 10 years of my life, we ran a place in a city close to Delhi, Noida, a place of 24 hours chanting meant for world peace. It was a 24-hour chanting of mantras to create an intention for world peace between 2008 and 2017. And Manish's father was the head priest, or the head person who was in the team of people who were doing that chant. Sadly, he is no more with us. And Manish is here, and I'm very touched. Through him, it is his presence who is also here. His name was Lalanji. We used to lovingly call him that. So coming back to the topic of today, we will try to deepen our understanding. And the goal of deepening our understanding will be to close the gap between our understanding and our actions. We have enough understanding and we keep adding new things, more new understanding to that. But the big problem is the gap between what we already know and what we do with it. Because the catchline, the topic is, you are the author of your destiny. And being an author is an action. You need to write it.
Okay, someone is talking here, so I think I will mute. I will mute everyone except you, Pawan, yeah?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, just go ahead. You can speak.
Yeah, however, everybody who is able to see me and hear me, I will try to be as simple and as slow in my in presenting and offering whatever I have to. But it is an open session. It's a conversation between all of us. So just raise your hand and just say what you have to. Ask me a question, put in a comment. Don't worry if I get interrupted. Don't worry if we are not able to cover all the topic. It doesn't matter. The fact that we are together and we are, during this time of locked in, we are looking in, is enough. Just this looking in is enough. So let all come forward and give their reactions. Many whom I already know are familiar with my language and my examples. For them, it will be a revision on this topic. During our personal conversations, we have been talking about it. And for those who are new, they can always just raise a hand. We will pause immediately and take your questions inside. So coming back again, the topic is, the first topic or the starting point is karma, free will, and destiny. I'm an astrologer, so I'm asked to talk about, and I use astrology to read people's destinies and tell them what is there in their future. So it seems as if there's somebody who has written the destiny, and I'm reading that book and telling them this is going to happen or that is going to happen. And free will means that you write everything. You do all the writing. You are the author. You are totally free. And destiny seems something like this. Thou shalt, this shall happen to thee. Thou shalt fall ill. Thou shalt become the Prime Minister of Ireland. Destiny sounds like a sentence handed over to you. Free will sounds like there is no rules to free will. I can do what I want to do. And these two things look opposite to each other. I would attempt to bring them both together. There are many complicated philosophies behind it and many complex scientific models to establish a correlationship between free will and destiny. What we are going to do is understand it in a simple way. So what is free will? Choosing, choices are your free will. You are totally free to make choices. What is destiny? Consequences. So the consequences that come out of those choices are destinies, and you don't have a free will to do anything with that in that moment. You can create another free will on top of it and then alter that. But sometimes it can be chosen. Sometimes it is possible, sometimes it is not. Not all destinies can be changed depending upon how it is. For example, you chose to be in this Zoom call at whatever time you chose 10 minutes ago. You can choose to jump out of it, get out of it, and then you'll change the destiny of having to sit in it. But that portion of destiny to go back into the past and do something else in those 10 minutes that you have invested here is not possible. That part is not possible. But what is in front of you, you can do many things with that. You have a free will to raise your hand, to keep quiet, to keep your video on, many things. And each one of these choices have different consequences altogether. So in that, you can choose the consequence that you would wish to effect. This is the simplest way to connect free will to destiny. That means, now we go a step further. When we talk in terms of astrology, there is only one presumption that we make. Astrology is an ancient science, and in those days, this was a common belief. Today, science has even proven it. The belief that we are consciousness, we are not this physical body, and we wear this body like a shirt. We wear this body from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. Dr. Brian Weiss, the American psychologist, has written a book, Many Lives, Many Masters, and that he's tried to scientifically establish this. He's most popular. There are many more papers that have been written about life after life after life. Many papers written about consciousness. In fact, the latest research in quantum biology, very latest, maybe a year old or so. Quantum biology, it's a very new science. And it has established that there are microtubules in the neurons of our brain that are conduits to consciousness. They have established it in a very, very complex algorithm, in a very, very complex way. They have established it. In simple way, we are consciousness, we are conscious beings having a human experience. We are conscious beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are conscious beings having a human experience. Not human beings having a conscious or a spiritual experience when we are in a Zoom call with a person like myself. Otherwise, not. No, it is not so. We are not just mere human beings having some paranormal experience once in a while. No, we are actually paranormal beings wearing very tangible, limited, three-dimensional physical bodies. Our mind is a part of that conscious existence. Science, neurophysiology, neurobiology today has proven beyond doubt that memory is not stored in the brain. I don't know how many of you have heard about it. Maybe it is new. Memory is not stored in the brain. Brain is not even a hardware to store the memory. Where is memory stored? That science has not answered so far, but through quantum biology, we can say it is stored in a field, in a quantum field, which we have lesser understanding of. The ancient Vedic science and wisdom says this quantum field is the mind field. It's a common mind field we all have access into. And then body to body to body, we have our limited, like a mobile number, we have our limited memory. And out of that memory, we begin to act, create more memory. We are basically a bundle of memories. And this memory then is trapped, not trapped, is captured or understood or accessed or interpreted through the planets, through the position of celestial bodies. And it appears as if we are going through consequences that we did not choose. For example, there are people who have one after another failed relationship. For example, they can say, I didn't choose this. Where is it coming from? No, this could be even more complex. Let me give you a more simple example. Somebody drives on the street and hits an accident and loses a leg, let us say. You go visit him in the hospital. He will say, come on, now tell me, where was my choice in it? I didn't make this choice of losing my leg in an accident. The answer is, yes, you made a choice. Now imagine how. It's a far-fetched answer. But we all know that there are, let us say, 100,000 car accidents every day across the world. So if you're driving a car, you are opting for 1 in 100,000 chance to get into an accident and lose a limb or something like that. So if you're driving a car, by the very fact that you're driving a car, you take the risk, you choose the risk of that accident. In that much, it becomes a conscious choice. Not that you repeat it to yourself every day, but you, in a way, choose it. Now, this is simple. Going back to the example of breakup, which is the subject matter of Dr. Brian Weiss's book, Many Lives, Many Master, and also Only Love is Real. He's written these two lovely books. You could look them up in these days. How a person chose something in the last lifetime and set it into motion, and how that choice is playing out in this lifetime. It appears as if he has not chosen it, but actually he's the one who has chosen it. And it is playing out as a consequence. It appears as his destiny. So you can say destiny is the sum total of the consequences not yet played out. Choices are the choices that you make as you go on. May I pause here? Any questions? Any comment? Anybody disagreeing? Disagreement most welcome, because agreement, then we can move on. Anybody disagreeing? I can't see
Sorry for the
everybody.
sorry for the interruptions. I just couldn't understand the last part what you said about the destiny and the breakup thing. I couldn't relate that.
Say that again.
I couldn't relate what you said, the last part of yours, the destiny and the breakup thing. How do you
Destiny and
relate that?
breakup thing. Okay, fine. Okay. I was trying to say, suppose somebody is going through a series of broken up relationships, but he's a good guy and he still
Yeah.
ends up facing a series of broken relationships.
Okay.
Then one would say, this is his destiny, that he's seeing a series of broken relationships. Astrologer will read it. But we were talking about, we are the author of our destinies. So when did we write that destiny for ourselves? We wrote that destiny in the last lifetime, in some way or the other. What seems to be a breakup today might be a residual relationship from the last lifetime. And there are many, then there could be many reasons, many combinations of reasons that can lead to two people coming together and going different ways. But it could be a choice made in the last or the last to last lifetime. It could be a residual consequence waiting to form into manifestation, and therefore appear as destiny, and therefore appear as if I have not chosen it, but actually in one way I have chosen it. Does that clarify a bit, or is it complicated still?
Pavan, I think I will unmute half of them. Let them ask. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Pawan. That was great.
Everyone. Okay. So, who has a question? I unmuted everyone.
Yeah. Can I ask something
Yes.
with regard to the latest? So, okay, there is a God's wisdom in every event which happens in our life. Maybe we are not aware of this wisdom. Why exactly it happens to me or someone else? But why? How can I explain other people? And why should I be responsible for something which I did in my previous life, which I didn't even know, or I don't remember what I did? Why? How, me being adult, how can I be responsible for something I really don't remember I did?
You are right. A perfect question.
1 minute,
May I
Pavan.
answer?
1
May I
minute.
answer this question?
Okay, yeah, sure.
May I
Go
take
ahead.
this question? May I answer it?
Yeah. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Okay.
I have lost myself in the number of pictures somewhere. Okay. Am I visible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the question is, I did something in my last lifetime. I don't remember it. Why should I suffer in this lifetime, and try to explain people and things like that? Now, this is a very, very, very valid question. But let us dive a little deeper into it. All right. As I said, it is my life, the eternal consciousness which is journeying. Number one, we are not supposed to explain it to anybody. All explanations are owed to ourselves, not to anybody. Why must I suffer? Just because I don't remember does not absolve me from experiencing the consequences. It could be suffering, it could be also pleasant. Look, you are not putting this question to me. I don't remember having done anything good, and I have won a lottery in this lifetime. Why should I get a lottery without doing anything I don't remember? How will I explain to people why have I got so much money? Nobody talks of that. Only when it comes to suffering that they begin to question everybody from God to themselves and everybody in between. Imagine I come to France and murder somebody. Say, I murder somebody. And then I ran away from them. I did it in a heat of a moment. There was an argument on something. Maybe I was drunk. I murdered that man and ran away from France and came to the Himalayas and became a saint. And I truly transformed myself. I became a good guy. I saved people. I taught people. I served people. I did everything right. After 30 years, 20 years, 25 years, the French police through the Interpol traces me into that small village in the Himalayas, arrests me and says, now you have to be hanged or go to jail or be shot dead or whatever, that you have to be punished. I cannot take a plea that I didn't remember killing anybody, or I have forgotten, or I have done so much good work, it should have offsetted against my so-called murder. Just because suffering is unpleasant and enjoying is pleasant, it doesn't mean that we can exclude suffering from our experiences. Much rather, sometimes sufferings happen because of very good choices that we have made in our last lifetime. In my experience as an astrologer, in Vedic astrology, you can cast a horoscope and you can tell a person's past life. Of course, there are no proofs to establish. It's only that you can see it. And it is necessary sometimes to know the imprints he's carrying from there. And sometimes I see beautiful souls. I see people who had beautiful lives, and at the end of the life, they were living in a monastery. And in this lifetime, they are having such hardships. Marriages not getting stabilized, no children, no jobs being stable. And then can you see, the moment they get to understand that job, marriage, children, they have resolved all of this already. Towards the end of their life, in the last lifetime, they chose a life, a simple life, to be devoted to internal practices, because it takes a couple of lifetimes of practice to get rid of the impressions so that you evolve to higher dimensions. We'll talk about that.
Okay, Pavan, can you hear me? There's Anil who wants to speak. And Yelena, why don't we remember our precious lives?
Pawanji,
I will, yeah.
can I?
Who's
Yes,
this?
Yeah. Pawanji, you said that, it's all related to our past life. That whatever is happening in this life is related to our past life. But the example which you have given to me, I'm not.
No, not whatever,
So,
not whatever, some of it.
Yeah, some of it. But the example which you have given right now, that you did, you killed someone in France, and then you did something good in Himalayas. But this has happened in this life, and you remember it, right? And the people. So I'm not relating that what we did, whatever right now. Suppose I'm doing something, did something wrong, which was unknowingly I did something, but in the next life I'm getting suffering from that. But knowingly I didn't done anything wrong. So it can't be that my destiny to get the suffering which I haven't done knowingly. So I'm not correlating those things, that why my destiny is written of something which is not done in a that there is something which we do knowingly, and something which we do happened without knowing we have done this. So I'm not getting it right, how we can correlate the destiny
I'll
thing with this.
I'll tell you something. Now, that is what we are talking about, the mind. Now remember, mind is like an iceberg. Very little mind, maybe 10%, even less than that. I see some psychologists also sitting in here with us. One is Lucky Yadav. She's a PhD in psychology. She's sitting here. Only a little portion, the tip of the mind, is conscious mind. Large chunk is subconscious and a huge chunk is unconscious mind. What we are talking about memory, memory again, conscious memory, subconscious memory, unconscious memory. Just because you don't remember doesn't mean that an event will not have an impact on you. You get the point? For example, you can take people into a regression. Psychologists have already done that in clinical environments. You take a subject into regression and ask him, well, how many electrical lamp posts did you cross on your way to this clinic? And he will say 153, up like that. He was not counting, but he remembers. It is a part of his subconscious mind, not even unconscious mind. And then there are a whole lot of near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, in which a person is totally unconscious, heart rate 0, flat, pulse rate flat, of course, brain flat in an operation theater. And then they come back and narrate all the dialogues that the doctors were talking to each other. So my Guru Swami Rama used to say, he was a doctor himself, he used to say, all of the mind, all of the body is in the mind, but all of the mind is not in the body. We'll need to understand what mind is. Mind is not something inside here. Always we show ourselves like that. It doesn't have any mind here. There is no mind here. Mind is here. We talk of cellular memory. We talk of muscular responses. There is a mind here. There is a gut feel. There is a whole lot of gut bacteria. There is a whole gut mind that works on its own. So mind itself is very vast. And then imagine this mind being a projection of consciousness, which will experience all of this through the mind.
Pavan, sorry to interrupt. Okay. They're asking, Prerena is saying that she suggests that we actually ask the questions after the session. Maybe actually we can finish that and ask everyone who wants to unmute to ask the questions after we're done. So since we're tapping into destiny, let's finish that, move to astrology, and then we will open questions. I gave everybody the opportunity to unmute themselves if they want to speak, okay? So,
yes.
All right, let's continue, and then you can see the chats also, the questions on the side, right?
No, I can't see anything in my
no
phone.
Problem.
So
I will handle it.
But
okay.
I want to answer a question in the meantime. Someone has asked, why don't we remember our past lifetime? We just don't remember, full stop. That's the size of our memory. But imagine, Shakespeare said, world is a stage. Now you understand that in every lifetime, we have a different role and a different experience to play, to experience. If you were to remember all the past experiences and lifetimes, how would we truly, authentically play our roles? Imagine if Tom Cruise is the policeman in one movie and in another movie he has become a criminal. If he remembers his dialogues of a policeman and his expressions of a policeman, how will he truly play a criminal in this lifetime so that somebody else get a chance to play a policeman? There can be a huge amount of confusion. We have cross relationships. Already, I'll tell you, there are, we already have these documented cases of tracing past lifetimes. And there are children who remember their past lifetime and they run to their old homes in which they now see so there would be a little girl who would say, I lived so-and-so place. And she goes there and she looks at her husband, now married to somebody else. And she gets crazy here if she remembers that past lifetime. She's already changed her life. So there could be many, many reasons why nature decided that our mind is configured in this manner. But we have a possibility to access our past lifetimes. It is possible to access both through the Western scientific methodology, that is through psychological past life regression therapy methods. There are other methods to access your past lifetime impressions of the past lifetime. There are methods in the Vedic astrological science, which is easiest. I can simply cast a horoscope and know what were you up to in your past lifetime, or what was I doing in my past lifetime, so to say.
Okay, Pawan, can we now move
Yeah.
to astrology since we have spoken about destiny? Let's tap into that so we can have some time also for questions, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this was a backdrop to be talking about astrology. Destiny, and the way we call destiny or understand destiny, is something that we are not able to see. That is why we want something so that we get to know what is going to happen, especially if it is a very important thing in our life. We don't care what we are going to have for breakfast tomorrow morning, but we are very, very anxious to know whether our jobs will remain, whether our children will do well. These are important topics of our lives. Astrology is a tool that we use not only to look into the future and analyze and predict. Of course, this is a very important part of astrology. But astrology is also a tool to understand yourself, your own weaknesses and strengths, leverage your strengths, accept your weaknesses and work upon them, and make yourself continually blossom. It takes several lifetimes to blossom to the level of your own highest personhood. Leo Buscaglia talks about that. Highest personhood, your own highest blossoming. What will happen at that level of blossoming? Well, common sense says that if we are an infinite consciousness trapped in three-dimensional body, there must be other multi-dimensional entities or realities in which we can experience life. Greater possibilities, greater probably fun, greater enjoyment, whatever. So one of the goals, or one of the most important goals of astrology, is your own spiritual progress and practices. On that progress and practice, the milestones are your own space of inner peace and happiness, your own contentment, happy relationships, balanced relationships, a certain degree of wellness that you feel. Those are the milestones that we strive for on our spiritual progress and our worldly progress to deal with current challenges. Here also astrology comes in as a help. Now it is a tool. In this tool, what we use the position of planets in our solar system. We use the position of nakshatras, constellations in the zodiac belt. There are 27 such nakshatras. And we use two more astro points, you can say. They are not planets, but they are just points in the sky where the imaginary path of the sun and the moon cross each other. They are called the north node and the south node. So they form together 9 planets and 27 constellations. And these are arrayed in a space which is 360 degrees around yourself. So it's a 3-dimensional space. In that we map all the planets wherever they are. And then there is a whole science of interpreting it. Now, let me tell you one thing, that astrology is a very good and a very robust and a very scientific tool of interpretation. I have a bee coming in. Oh, sorry. It's a very robust tool for interpreting these planets and predicting the future. But this is not the only tool. There are other ways to know the future. There are some people who are so intuitive, they just look at your face and can tell your future. Some people have a sixth sense, paranormal abilities, they can tell the future. Sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times in companies, financial futures are predicted based by experts who are economists who understand right now the future of COVID and the movement and economies and things like that. Zeina has been hosting some experts who are already predicting how so-and-so industry will move based on their experience. Some total of experience projected mathematically can also give you a fairly good amount of idea of future. Sometimes, you might be aware, you might have a daughter who is getting her boyfriend home for the first time. And then she will come and ask you in the ears, Mom, do you have a chocolate? And so why? No, after lunch, he will ask for a chocolate. She can predict that after lunch, and lo and behold, after lunch, that guy is saying, is there some chocolate? Is there some sweet around? Because from her experience, she knows that after lunch, he has chocolate. Suppose we use the tool of astrology. We spread the planets around. We can also predict that after lunch, this boy will like something sweet. If there is moon in the second house, for example, he will like some milk product, chocolate or some other cookie or something which has milk in it. And it should be cold, ice cream or something like that. If there is Mars in a fiery sign in the second house, he would want hot chocolate. If there is the north node of the moon, he might want a cigarette after food. If there is Venus, he might want a glass of wine if it is nighttime. Red wine, white wine, alcohol. You can go to that level of differentiation and understanding through this tool. It is not important that you should do all of this, but sometimes it is very, very interesting to know a person better. So you can say, how can this tool be used? Just a few days ago, there is a couple now just about to get married. They have been dating themselves, each other for 4 years from London. They called me. And I looked at the girl's horoscope and I saw Mercury in the 12th house. When you see Mercury in the 12th house, what would mean in a girl's horoscope? She will ask many questions, sometimes very uncomfortable questions. So I immediately told her boyfriend, fiancé, look, she's going to ask you many questions. He says, she already irritates me with that. I said, please don't get irritated by that. This is her nature. This will never change. She will ask questions. You will need to answer it. If you get irritated, you will fight, and that will spoil your evening or the night. It's a good tool to understand a nature of a person. Now, if the girl wants, and if she gets conscious about this particular aspect, there will be a method. There is a method, a conscious method to reduce asking uncomfortable questions, if it is possible, to reduce this, so that she can reduce irritation being caused to her fiancé, so that number of conflicts, total number of conflicts, true number of conflicts will go down. So you can use astrology to understand people's personality, to understand there are some people who ask or who want to find out in which field will they excel. Some people are moving houses. They are moving countries. They say, we don't know. We have closed our work in the US. We can go to Bali. We can go to Turkey. We can go to Africa or India. Where should we move? Which country will be most conducive? But in all of this, the most important thing is that you need to trust the tool of astrology. You must trust the astrologer. That is also important. And you must trust yourself also while making that decision. Now, here comes some problems because astrology is an old science. It has not been totally been possible to adapt it fully to the modern world. We are all doing our best to interpret it in the best manners, and we are still learning. So it's a, you can say it's an old science, and it is also very young science. We are adding to the body of the knowledge of astrology in that way through our experiences. The astrologers can make a mistake, can make an error, just like any other professional can make an error. That doesn't mean that you lose trust. Huh? Don't lose trust. Look at the intention, give another chance, because by error, suppose you go to a doctor and he gives you a medicine, it doesn't work. If you run to another doctor, he will give you another medicine, and that might also not work. But if this doctor is sincere and you work together closely, then if he analyzes your symptoms again, he will understand why this medicine did not work or to what were you allergic to. So next medicine, he will factor all of that, and the chances of success will be better. That's why in our tradition, in traditional astrologers in India, families have family astrologers. Like in old times, we used to have family physicians. A physician knew this whole family, the genetics, the movement, the moods, the eating habits, the lifestyle. This physician factors all of them in his clinical practice. Similarly, the astrologer knows what has been going on in the family. And then, therefore, he has that rich experience behind him to be able to guide the current seeker even better. But yes, there is a matter of trust which is involved, and a matter of openness, curiosity, and then everything is okay. I would here add one more very important thing. In astrology, it is easy to predict all the nice things. You will get a boyfriend next month or next week, or your boyfriend is coming back to you tomorrow on his knees, or you will have a baby very soon, or you're going to buy a car or a house, or you're getting a job or $1 million. These are very happy moments, happy things to predict, easy to predict, happy to convey, very good. But life is not only about pleasant things. People come to an astrologer with very unpleasant circumstances. Rather, only in unpleasant, challenging situations, people come to an astrologer. It's not a very good thing to do, though. You should come to an astrologer when you're happy and everything is okay, that one can focus on building up activities. But when you come in a challenge, at that time, the event that is set up for you could be not to your liking also. What does the astrologer do? Is a big question mark. There are people who come to me, their father is already on a wheelchair, infected, has been in and out of hospital, and I can see this father may not make it even 1 year. And I can see the son or the daughter even crying, asking the question, what will happen to my father? You can't say your father is going to die tomorrow or in 1 month's time. But then if you don't say that and he does, then you lose faith in the astrologer. If he says that, then also you feel that this astrologer speaks negative things. So this is a bit of a challenge area that I have faced in my own practice. I've been practicing for 20 years professionally and for 42 years. So the rest of the 32 years behind that, unprofessionally, I was a palmist as a child. So for a total of so many 42 years or so, I have been looking at people's future. And I know how it feels to convey an unpleasant truth. But if we are open and if we come with this feeling that, yes, there could be an unpleasant outcome, can I do something about it? If I can do something about it, I will do. If I can't do something about it, I'll accept. Astrology can be a brilliant tool in telling you, this is something that you can't do anything much about. Drop it. Then trust the astrologer. Save your strength and put it in something that you can do. Here again, there is, because we are growing up in a modern society where when you say something, it becomes a limiting belief. What happens in the quantum reality? Somebody will say, when you are saying this, you are already planting this negative thought. You tell somebody you can't climb Mount Everest. That means you've already planted in his head that. And suppose he climbs that Mount Everest, then my answer will be, suppose he climbs that Mount Everest, then what? Nothing will happen. Suppose nothing happens even after that. It was a waste of effort any which ways. No, he felt happy. Okay, will he always feel happy? What if instead of climbing Mount Everest, he spent that time probably for something else, which was more important for him? Maybe his own health, which needed rest. But is there that kind of a trust in astrologer? Is that the amount of trust you come to an astrologer? Or you treat astrology as, you can treat astrology as an interesting conversation point, an interesting sounding board point. There are many uses of astrology. Sometimes you are sad, you just want to beat the planets up. Ah, Saturn is bad, don't you worry. You are a good guy, everything will be okay. Even this is okay. Sometimes you want an astrologer to be just a shrink. Sometimes you want him just to be a tarot reader to tell you something that you like to hear.
Pavan,
Okay.
can we
Yes.
speak about astrology? How is it related to numerology? How is it related to crystals and stones? How is the link, all of it together?
Sure. See, astrology is a very, very vast science. All right. So astrology, what is astrology? And then you will understand the relationship. You have put so many 4 or 5 things. There are 100 things that can be related to astrology. Why? Logos. Astrology is made up of astros, aster, and logos. Logos means knowledge. Logos means knowledge. Astros means light, knowledge of light. So everything about the knowledge of light. Everything here, light stands for yourself, myself. Please pardon me. I think my phone needs to be put on charge and then it will be okay. Just excuse me for this. Yeah, great. So astrology is related to all aspects of life. Now here you use the word gems and crystal. Gems and crystals, the use of that is a science in itself. But in astrology, we use it as remedial measures. So for example, if I need to enhance the energy of sun, then I will choose a gem which has the same frequency as the sun and advise the person to wear a certain weight of that on the finger or around the neck to enhance that particular energy in the energy field of the person so as to help achieve that particular goal that that person is asking for. So that's the relationship of gemstones. As far as crystals are concerned, we use in astrology, not in Indian astrology, we don't use crystals the way you use in Western astrology. In Western astrology, we use crystals to clear up our homes. How can crystal clear up a home? Because the structure of the crystal has a certain absorbent, or what's it, an energy absorbing nature. Crystals are also semiconductors. They have efficiency of absorbing electrical energy, static field. It can clear it up. That is really another subject. One day I would love to speak to all of you of how to use crystal. Even today, if I have about 5-10 minutes, I could share something on that of how to use which crystal. But out of the crystal, the gems, which are also crystals, are used as remedial measures for different planets, for achieving different goals, for balancing different aspects of life, health, relationship, etc. in astrology. The other point that Zeina raised was numerology. Astrology is numerology, if you think of it like that. They are all numerologically arranged. The whole order in astrology is all pure mathematics on degree, minutes, and seconds, etc. I use a particular branch of astrology in which I ask for a random number between 1 and 249 for a question that is asked. And I pick that one number that you give me and run a horoscope around that number and then do a prediction. All I can say this is, I will not be able to explain right now how that number is related to astrology and what I do with that, because it is again another chapter. But remember one thing, that numbers have a language of their own. There are several books available in the market to understand the science and the language of numbers. So then numbers from 1 to 9 have a language of their own. There are some golden ratio numbers. There are some other types of numbers which have mystical properties around them. Based around those numbers, we create mystical geometrical patterns. Even in my practice, which we call yantra, we call it like a machine, like a tool. It's a geometrical pattern made up of triangles and squares. And it captures a certain dimension of energy. Now those squares and angles have a certain degree, or there are certain number of boxes you fill up with certain kinds of sounds. These are all, then we are getting into a very deep detail. What I would wish to, though we are more than half time up, or almost most of the time is up, what I would wish to bring your attention is to the fact that what can you do? How can you create the consequence in this moment? By just differentiating two things. One, things that you can't change. Don't think that is a defeat. Don't think it is a defeat to accept things that can't be changed. And then segregate things that you can change. First work on things that you can change. Your life will be a whole lot better. If you're not able to understand this, which can be changed, which can't be changed, or the thought of future, the anxiety gets you too much, you're all welcome to contact me. Zeina has all my contacts, and I will do my very best to help you segregate these two set of things so that, and focus your strength towards things that you can change and make a substantive difference in your life.
So basically, Pawan, just to give a clear idea, so Pawan can help on astrological charts. You can also assess names, right? We haven't covered the name part, I think. Assessment of the name.
I can do that.
We can speak about a bit about the name. He can specify the right gem. He can specify the right crystal for homes, and even Vastu, right? Which is technically another format of feng shui for the house, if I would call it feng shui. Let's talk about the name a bit, because we still have time. How do names affect our destiny?
Okay. No, this is not so causal. Names don't affect our destiny so much. I must not put it like that. We can call anybody by any name, and in times to come, I think people are not going to even have a name. They will have a number or something like that. There are people who are already talking in those terms, that we will all have an XYZ number. No, see what happens, especially in East, in the Indian Chinese side, even in the Middle Eastern older societies, traditional societies, even in the West, names are very thoughtfully kept, calling nominations of ourselves. That is our identity, our whole identity. And what I found is that every name has a very special meaning, very special meaning. And I found that if we were to understand only the meaning of our name and live that as if we truly are that. So somebody's name will be, so your name is Zeina Akkawi, but you suppose your father kept your name as Love Akkawi. There are some people whose name is Love. Some people are called Peace. Suppose somebody's name is Peace Simpson. If they understand the meaning of peace and just live one word in their life, peace, every other good things will come to them. Their name, my name, your name is the key to our identity and to our, I can dare say, to our entire life, a key of our own expression. At another level, names have sounds, and these sounds have frequencies, and these frequencies match with your planetary energies. We can sometimes fine tune it, or we can just understand that what planetary energy this name is exciting, so that we can stay with it or reduce that planetary energy in our own lives to create a certain amount of balance. Here, I make a voluntary gift for everybody. Gift is always voluntary. Whoever wishes to can write to me her or his name, and I'll try my humble best to make a small note about your name and send it back to you as to what is that attribute that you stand for or that name stands for, and that you could turn your life around that particular attribute that your name means. And if somebody wants to further understand that, at least one time I'm available without any hassles. Just call me. It's a gift from my side that I will talk to you, and we'll together make sense of that name and see how it can be lived in your life.
So basically,
reach you.
Pawan, what I suggest is that if you can just give your email at least now, because we're going to open the floor for questions. Apologies, I don't know what happened here with my email. And what we could do is that you can pass your email, so they can just send you emails with all their questions in relation to astrology, in relation to gems, crystal, vastu, the work that they want their names, and anything else that they want to ask you. Meanwhile, anyone can mute themselves and ask questions now. We have maybe like 5-6 minutes to ask questions and answer, yeah?
Yes, please.
So who would like to ask any questions?
Yeah, this is Rajneesh here, Pawanji. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Pawanji, this is just for my understanding. I
Yes.
think the horoscope is basically based on the birth time, the place of birth, the year of birth. Okay. So, when a horoscope is prepared at that time, if there's a difference of maybe 1 or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, there'll not be much major change in the planets that is being in the chart. Am I right?
You are absolutely right.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, so in the case of twins, which are born, it will be a difference of maybe 2 or 3 minutes. A difference would be, or maybe 4 minutes. But both these twins don't share the same destiny, though the horoscope is same. Why is it so?
It's a question that I also keep asking myself. So many years, I have not found a good answer to that. But let me try it out again.
No, I just want, it's an understanding, just to understand that.
Yeah. There are 2 levels of understanding in it. Huh?
Okay.
2 layers. One sounds very simplistic, that the science of astrology is in itself a mystic science. And it is an indicative, intuitive, mystic science. And when you go to an astrologer with your birth details and he looks at the stars, there is, in that moment of looking, a certain download happening which is related to you alone, that astrologer will convey to you. That
True.
astrologer may not know that he's getting intuitively connected to a certain information. He will let you know. At your same time, there might be another person who is born who doesn't go to anybody, doesn't look at anything. And he carries on with his life in whichever dimension he wants to. Now coming back to your question, you know something, and when there are finer variations in when we study the finer variations in time, that is where the differentiation between a Bill Gates and a pauper born on the same day, same time in the same hospital happens. By few seconds, there are, you know, if you look at an astrological, someday if you and me, we get together, I'll show you, there are 32 basic horoscopes, 16 very fundamental divisions. There are innumerable degrees to which details go into. And it is in those micro details that shifts the balance of wealth or event or things. But more or less, I can say this much. More or less, most people born in that, in those planetary conjunctions may have similar pattern of life. I have seen people who are born in the same year as Bill Gates, when a couple of planets were in exaltation. I have seen them to be absolute fools also. But when you talk to them, you see this streak of ingenuity in them. They could not monetize it, that's okay. But they do have something which is of a similar pattern. Thirdly, minor differences in time of birth creates inaccuracy in prediction of the timing of prediction. I have found that if I predict something, and if it goes wrong by 2 days or 5 days or 1 week or 10 weeks or sometimes even 10 months or 1 year sometimes, then it is a difference in the time of birth that went haywire. But the event will happen in that manner. And it is for that reason that I personally double secure the readings by not only looking at your birth chart, in which the time of birth could have been, there could have been an inaccuracy, but also looking at the horoscope of the moment. It is called the horary horoscope. Horary, it's a Greek word from which hour has arisen, hour. And in Sanskrit, it is called hora. The horoscope of the moment. So we take the horoscope of the moment and read it together with the horoscope at the time of your birth, and then try to come to a certain understanding of whether an event will happen or not, or when will it happen. So that is how we manage.
Who wants another question? Or who has another question? You can unmute.
Hi, Vijay, Tanmay this side.
Yes, Babu.
How are you, first of all?
Very good.
So nice to see you. Thank you, Zeina, again for hosting this event. Vijay, you
Anytime.
were talking about gems. And I'm wearing a few of them, as you know. So, I have a similar question regarding to it. So, people say that for some days of planet, you should not be eating like meat products or something, like on especially on Tuesday and Thursday. So how relevant it is?
I have got your, I understood. You mean to say, based on planetary movement, how can we decide what to eat, what not to eat?
Exactly.
Exactly. You know something, end of the day, astrology is a science and astrologers are human beings. So if you come to an astrologer like myself, you won't hear this from me. You go to an astrologer who is in another context, another cultural setting, for whom meat eating is bad, then he will say, don't do bad thing on this date. Huh? He thinks meat eating is bad. So this date is ascribed to that. But there is a sense in that also. In that, there is a sense of refraining from something. So when you refrain your senses and your mind in a way, you build up a certain energy. Like when you pull an arrow a bit backward, when you shoot, it goes faster. So that astrologer will recommend it in connection with something else. You will find that. you don't do this and you do that. And then together, he's trying to gather, intensify some part of your energy, let's say taste energy, and shoot it through something else. But he might not be doing it consciously, but that's somewhere he is wanting to do like that.
Okay, question 3. Asim, you need to unmute. Okay, I'll unmute you 1 minute. Okay. I can't unmute you. Okay, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
You can. Good evening, Pawan. How are you?
Arey Asim bhai.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you, Zeina, conducting very nicely. And I had a very basic question. And the question is that today's topic was, and rather it is, that we are the author of our own destiny, right? Now, when an author sits, he sits with a pen and he sits with an eraser. What he doesn't like, he erases. What he likes, he adds on. So if we are authoring our own destiny, where is the role of astrology then? And why we should then again bank upon astrology? Because we had an eraser, we had a pen, we had a will, and we had a will to do something, to change something, even the lines of our hands. Then why at all do we fall back on astrology? What makes us go to the astrologer?
Here, may I answer this?
Yeah, please.
Perfect.
Can I say something before? I think his voice is very nice for radio.
Fantastic. Then he can be your
Thank
next
you so much.
guest. So, why do we need astrology? Well, first, to agree with him, we don't need astrology. No problem. Suppose you don't go to an astrologer, what will happen? You won't write your destiny? Of course you would. You don't need it. Astrology is a tool. If you want to use this tool, it can enhance, it can speeden up, it can help you. It's like, I don't need a mobile phone, I don't need a computer. I can still live my life without a computer, but computer is an advanced tool to connect with everybody. Similarly, astrology is an advanced tool which gives us a deeper understanding into ourselves. When you say, I am the author of my destiny, people don't have an understanding of who they are, who is I. I have 2 videos just recently posted on that on my channel in YouTube. You can look at that. Who am I? Who is am? I am. What is destiny? Which I are we talking about? Are we talking about just this time and we want to write a destiny around here? Maybe we will write something, but that might not work as well. So astrology can give us a larger, bigger, deeper understanding, because remember one thing, what we are looking at in astrology is the planets, is the constellations. So we are looking at our cosmic context. When we are sitting down, when we think of a paper and pen, we think of our desk and our table and our life as it is. When we think of astrology, we are thinking of a large cosmic context and a long journey that we're coming through. So we are factoring all of that in. Also, astrology is just like a mirror. You can live without a mirror, no problem. But if you have a mirror and you use that, probably you will look cleaner and you can shave better and comb and look all right. That's all I can say. It's a tool.
Depends whether the mirror is a concave mirror or a convex mirror.
There you are. Absolutely.
That is all right. But I just wanted to say that, yeah, when we write our destiny and when we go to an astrologer, there we indirectly create a clear line of distinction between the thought process that I have had in my mind and what the astrologer says. So there is a dilemma. There is a dilemma. What should I follow? The voice of my conscience, or should I follow the advice of the astrologer? You told me in your discussion that you have to have trust on the astrologer. What about a person who's gone to an astrologer for the first time? He doesn't know. A Westerner, normally he doesn't go to an astrologer. But how do we make sure and to trust for the first time? And how could we decrease the level of contradiction between my conviction of writing the destiny and your saying you're adding a suffix to my destiny by way of constellation of stars and so many other things, which obviously is a science, I believe, and I agree that it is a science, but how do I reduce that contradiction?
Perfect. 2, 3 things you have said. Something is very simple to answer. The first thing, when we have a problem, let us say, forget about destiny. I am the author of my health. I
Right.
can eat what I want to, and then I can keep myself healthy. When I'm in a problem, I can still continue with my conscience and I can keep drinking teas and things like that. But when I think that I need help, then I go to a doctor. Now, just because the doctor is sitting on the other side of the table, it is not me versus the doctor. The doctor is on my side. He's looking at my health, and he's using his understanding of medical science and his experiences to tell me what would be the best thing for me to do. Again, the choice will be mine. I can choose the doctor's advice and take that medication or follow that path, or I can ignore it and continue my way. Both will lead to 2 different consequences. I will be the author of that consequence. I will be the author of that consequence, whether I take medicine, whether I don't take medicine. 2 different ways. But you talked about trust and how do people develop trust. Trust is such a human thing. It is normally built upon repeated successes. Repeatedly, we succeed over a long period of time. You trust that this is successful. But sometimes you meet your life partner, for example, and commit your life to her in the first meeting, second meeting. Then what happens? There that trust for whole life was built in the second meeting, first meeting. So trust is not, what you're talking is little bit binary that we are used to, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, logical. There should be a statistics of success to build trust. And on the other side, when you are crossing that line and going to an astrologer, and by God willing, astrologer also believes in this kind of an understanding, then you are going deep inside yourself and allowing your intuition to connect with that. Trust is much larger than logic, much larger. So it knows, it connects. There is a certain knowingness in it. That's all I can say. Otherwise, you keep going to an astrologer, and a couple of times, if he's correct, then your trust will begin to build up. If it fails, then people walk away.
Thank you, Pawan. Thank you, Zeina.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to more sessions with both of you. It has been wonderful. Thank you so much. Ciao.
Thank you. Pawan, I have from Nuha. Okay, she wants to a bit understand the importance of astrology in someone's life. This astrology, can it change destiny? I just got something on WhatsApp just for her to understand if it's possible, and how can it help you with your job also? Does it specify today that you might be losing a job X at this time? You might be getting divorced at this time? How does astrology today show these specific categories of your life? We still have 5 minutes to go.
Okay, I will try to compress all of this. You know, every topic that she puts up can take as many 5 minutes as you can grant me. But quickly, astrology is a tool. A tool can change your life. So I will say, can gym equipment change somebody's life? Yes, if you use it. If you just look at it, it won't change your life. No? Astrology by itself cannot change your life. But if you use astrology, it can change your life. How can it change your life? It can change your life by allowing you to plan your future a bit better. How? For example, if there is a very, very tough time coming up in front, and if you are not liking your job, I would say, please hold on to this job. Take all the shit that your boss gives you. Wait for this 1 year to pass and then go out of the job. That would be an astrological advice. there is no way to say if she believes in it and she does it and she goes through this. She could say, if I had not listened to you, I could have quit and I could have got another job. There is no way to establish that. Richard Bach wrote a book known as One, and he said there are always choices to make. You make one choice and you live that life, and another choice that you did not make, life goes on in that dimension also. It's a very complex multiverse we live in. We live in a multiverse. In the universe, we are living a universe of choice and consequences. In another space and time, there are those choices not chosen and consequences thereof that a part of us is living. So astrology helps you make a choice. Astrology can help you, advise you when a new job can come up, can help you choose the sector in which you can apply for jobs, uh, when a new job can come up. Well, this is as much as astrology can help you as far as getting a job is concerned. Also, we go a little deeper. When must you apply? When is the right planetary combinations? Suppose you have 3-4 days to apply. Why can't I choose a day on which the moon is in the right position and I shoot? Maybe my application will beat the odds of chances. Everything that we do in our life, whatever we do, all our actions don't convert into consequences, direct results. Results are actions plus chance, something else which is not in our hands. These two together give a resultant consequence. So this chance, we can reduce the negative uh, role of chance by using astrology. We can choose
So
a date.
does this apply also for relationships?
This applies for relationship. I tell
Not
the
only intimate. I mean, with people and with everything.
yes. When to meet, even in India, we all the time when we do engagement and marriage, Asim would know, we always we find the right date, the right time to get married, the right date to exchange the rings, the right time when parents of the girls will go to the parents of the boys' house with something. No, this is a branch of astrology known as elective astrology,
Okay.
muhurta, elective astrology. How can we choose a time in which whatever we put in, we reduce the odds of chance, reduction of the odds of chance. That's all. This will grow on its own, but let the chance not push it down. So we could do that in the job. We could do that in starting of businesses. In starting of businesses, we can choose the name through which you can start a business, which is more resonant with your planet. Naming of business, the visiting card, what color, what vibration should it emit, what image, what design should there be. You can go to any detail. Astrology is a tool. It's like a computer. You can play games with it, or you can fly a astronaut into the space with the same computer.
So finally, if she wants to get in touch, she needs to give her date of birth, her time of birth, her name, and what else is required, the location, right?
Yeah. She can just write to me. I have put my mobile phone, email, and website on the chat. People can look up there and just contact me. It's easy. There is no complexity in that. It's as easy as that. And then I'll guide her how to send her details to me, and I will do my best to answer her questions.
Thanks to everybody. I think we are out of time now, right? We could have taken more
a lot.
questions, but I think you know most of everyone. So thanks again, Pawan. Is there any advice you would like to give us on this COVID-19 situation?
I started with that. Let us not call this period a locked-in period. It is too depressing. Let us call this period a look-in period, and let us have a very close look at ourselves. Like Asim was saying, let's take a book and a pen and start writing our destiny.
Exactly.
Let's start doing that.
Thank you very much, and thanks to everybody, and hopefully for the next session in more deeper details.
More deeper details. Love you, everybody.
Much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.